into their top choice college. Do the math. Can you see the value of an OMA education? I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, and I'm here to help you do the math. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
National headlines and the local stories you care about. WLBB, Carrollton, News Talk, 1330, FM 106.3.
Welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. 2 times this week is probably for many people 2 times too many. But anyway, you got me anyway. And here we are. We're in studio, and we're very pleased to have with us Terry Lowry. He's a conductor and musical director of the Carroll Symphony Orchestra. But he also has the Wind Ensemble, the Community Chorus, the Carrollton Jazz Orchestra, and the Youth Orchestra. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to have you come in. Let me get all my knobs adjusted. I'm a little. It takes a minute. There are a ton of things I want to talk to you about, but not the least of which is really what brings you in this morning. Is that we have a Masterworks concert coming up this Friday, 7:30 at the Performing Arts Center. And this is a spring concert of the CSO, and so we'll talk about it different ways throughout the course of the program. But go ahead and just kind of give us the 60-second invitation for everybody.
Absolutely, we have it in February each year. This particular program is near Valentine's Day, so it's a great date night. We'll be presenting Dvorak's New World Symphony, which is perhaps the most famous piece of orchestral music in all the world, certainly the most well-known. We're premiering a new symphony by me, and 3 of the winners of the 2025 Carroll Symphony Young Composer Competition, which I'm really excited about. We're going to do a matinee program early in the day for hundreds of school children, and then that night.
Take a minute now. That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Tell us a little something about that.
Sure.
So we keep rolling along.
Yeah. So we do a Discover Music program. Each time we play, we invite school children from Carroll County, Carrollton City, Oak Mountain, Haralson County, Bremen City to come and enjoy the show. We do a Meet the Orchestra session. We play the young composer pieces so they can hear music written by students their own age. We've got a 5th grader this year, and then a couple of high school students. And the kids respond just really great. I mean,
what's the general
really
age
excited.
group of them?
Oh, anywhere from kindergarten through high school.
So for most of those kids, maybe it's not fair. Maybe it's accurate. Is that the first exposure they've ever had to classical orchestral
until
music?
They keep coming back? Yeah. So a lot of the teachers bring them back year after year. So kids look forward to this each year, and oftentimes they'll come to the morning matinee on Friday, go home, beg their parents for tickets to come back at night. I remember many times having board members come up to me and handing me their tickets because we'd sold out, and there were kids in the lobby crying because they couldn't get in to hear the concert. They had heard it that morning during the matinee, begged their parents to come to the concert, got there, it was sold out, very upset. I've had board members step up and offer their tickets so that these kids could get a chance to hear the music again. It's a fantastic program.
How important is it and why for young kids, young children, young students to be exposed to music of this type, classical music or orchestral music? Why is that important?
Well, I like to, rather than saying classical music or orchestral music, obviously, we fall into those
What
categories
else do
for
you
sure.
say?
Instrumental. I'd say instrumental music, non-vocal music.
Yeah.
Because it's more abstract. For instance, if I write a piece of music and you hear it, you might think it's a love song. And Joel over there may think that it's a song about going fishing. Who knows? Mm-hmm. You get to decide, is it a love song or a song about going fishing? Now, if I put words to it.
Probably be the other way around, but go ahead.
Sure. So if I write a song about going fishing with words, well, it's about going fishing. So the wonderful thing about abstract art and music in particular, because it's the most abstract, and by abstract, I simply mean that it can mean whatever you feel like it means. If you think it's a happy tune, then it's a happy tune. If you think it's a sad, it doesn't matter what the composer thought. It matters how you interpreted it. You're like the diner at the restaurant eating the food. The composer's the chef, the performers or the servers bringing you the food, and then the person at the table is the most important person of all that tastes it and decides if it's good or not. Is this going to be a place I want to come back to? Well, that's our listener. And for children, well, for adults too, the great thing about abstract art and music especially is that it helps us to make sense of the world when we run out of words. For example, if I'm so happy that I don't have the words for it, I just laugh. That's what we all do. If I can talk about it, I'll just tell you how happy I am. But if it just hits me and it's, I'll start laughing. If I'm so sad that I don't have the words, I'll cry. If I'm so scared or so angry that I don't have the words, especially a child, what would I do? I'd throw a toy. I might bang my fist on the table. I'd lash out. Well, what music does is music helps us make sense of these emotions and things that are going on in our world when we run out of words. And that's especially important for children who are building their vocabulary. Now, we do, the Carroll Symphony Orchestra does outreach programs in over 52 schools. And for years and years and years, we did a pre-K music program at Carrollton Elementary School. And I remember going one Friday. It was the Friday before Thanksgiving break. And the kids had just had their Thanksgiving feast, and the parents had come, and they had, jelly beans and pretzels or whatever, and they had their feathers in their hat and their pilgrims costumes and all that. Well, after that feast, some of the kids checked out and went home. Other kids stayed, but their parents left and went back to work. So I walk in one day, and there's this little boy just crying hysterically, just inconsolable. And I walk in, I'm supposed to do these Christmas songs with the kids, right, and teach them music. And I've got 25 4-year-olds in the room, and I got this one in the back that's just gone. I mean, you can't talk to him. He's so upset because Mama just left. And so I had to call an audible. I said, okay, everybody, we're going to do something totally different. So I had everybody stand up, and he's in the back, and the teacher's back there with him trying to calm him down. And I said, we're just going to sing a song. And I don't remember exactly what the words were, but it was something like this. And I said, I want you to repeat after me. I am sad. And they went, I am sad. My mom just left. My mom just left. And we talked, and I sang a song about how I felt, that I felt sad. And then after a couple of sentences, I said, but my friends are here. But my friends are here. And we'll go outside and play. And we'll go out. And we started singing the song about the happy things that we're going to do the rest of the day. The tears dried up. The kids started smiling. He walks up with the rest of the kids, and next thing you know, he's singing and dancing with everybody else. The music helped him make sense. He didn't have the words to say how bad he missed his mom and that he didn't understand that, well, she came to school, but she didn't take me home. He didn't understand that he had to stay 2 more hours. He didn't get all that. But the music helped him make sense of how he was feeling. And music does that for all of us, not just children. It does it for adults too. And that's why what we do is so important.
So, instrumental versus vocal music?
Well, vocal music has a power effect also. I mean, obviously I just did a vocal demonstration, right? Because I'm trying to help the kids. But instrumental music, I got asked by a kid once, I was doing a program at Carrollton Middle School, and I was talking about Beethoven or something. And at the end of the session, the kids like to ask me questions. So there's 100 kids in David Trumbull's band class in this one, and this girl raised her hand, and she said, "I got a question." I said, "Okay, what's your question?" She said, "Do you ever listen to modern music?"
Right.
And of course, I'm thinking, yeah, well, I listen to modern classical music all the time, but I knew what she meant. And I said, well,
Yeah,
can
sure.
I reframe your question?
Sure.
Do you mean to ask me, do I ever listen to music with words?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, yes, that's what I meant.
Right.
And she meant, do I listen to Taylor Swift, or I listen to whatever, that kind of thing. And
Jelly Roll.
yeah. And I said, rarely. And she said, why? And
That's a good question.
I said, I like to listen to instrumental music because I get to decide what it's about. And when I listen to vocal music, as much as I love some of it, I have favorite songs, I have favorite groups, I have favorite artists. It's not that I never listen to it. I just listen to instrumental music more often because I like getting to decide what it's about. If I'm having a tough day or if I'm having a happy day, the music can help me make sense of my world.
Well, this Friday at 7:30, Antonin Dvorak, correct?
Antonin. Yeah, Tony. Good old Tony.
Good old Tony. I pulled this up. He became director of the National Conservatory of Music of America in New York in 1892.
81, 82. Yeah.
Okay. And while he was there, he wrote two of his most successful orchestral works, the Symphony from the New World, and that's what we're performing Friday, or you're performing, and the orchestra is performing.
That's right.
Friday night. Give us a sense of because it's reflective from what I read of a lot of things in his life.
Well, okay, so you've got this guy, Czech Bohemian, part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So he was in and out of Vienna all the time. He knew good friends with Johannes Brahms and all those composers, right, that we know about. So because he's pretty famous, he was around 50, early 50s. He gets invited to come to America for a huge sum of money to help to be the head of this new conservatory in New York. And he comes over, and he's homesick at first. His wife comes, but his children don't. His children are going to come later. He's homesick, but he's hearing all this fantastic music. Harry Burleigh, the great transcriber of African American spirituals, was one of his students. He heard Native American music. He heard folk music that was being done in the United States that he had not heard in Europe. Now, it's not that he takes that music or quotes that music. He doesn't do Camptown Races in the middle of the New World Symphony, but his music is influenced, and he knew that his friends back in Vienna, the people that knew his music, were going to say, "Hey, that sounds a little bit different. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound like the old Dvorak. It's he's obviously been listening to something else. It's not a radical change, but it's enough of a difference for him to say to them, "This is my symphony from the New World."
So we'll be able to hear.
So here's what you hear. The New World Symphony is the first big successful piece of music that was composed in the United States. The first big, large form, it's a big piece of music that was written in the United States. Every second of this music is recognizable. This is the most familiar piece of orchestral music in all the repertoire. There will not be 1 second where the audience, I don't care if you've never heard this piece, if you've never been to an orchestra concert, there will not be 1 second that you don't recognize in this piece of music.
What do you mean by that? I mean, were they turned into commercials or something?
Yes, absolutely. Commercials, cartoons, movies, you hear them all the time. And not only that, so John Williams, a great film composer.
Sure.
Star Wars,
Right.
E.T., Jaws, all that stuff. So his favorite directors were George Lucas and Steven Spielberg.
Right.
George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, when they make a movie, they would take existing classical music, orchestral music, and they would make their own mixtape soundtrack for the movie before they gave it to John Williams. And then they give it to John Williams, and there's the movie, and there's the soundtrack playing in the background. And they always say to him, go make it sound kind of like that. Mm-hmm. And musicians like me, when we get together, a fun dinner game that we like to play is, let's guess which classical piece John Williams heard before he wrote this movie or this movie or that movie. Well, every bit of Star Wars and Jaws came out of the New World Symphony.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Well, that's one of the biggest challenges you have is because when an audience, I don't care what type of music, goes to a live concert, they really want to hear at least something that's familiar.
Absolutely. That's how people form connections to music in private, in their car, listening on their earbuds. And then once they really develop a relationship with a piece of music, a song, an artist, then they want to go to a concert and have that connection with all the other people who have made that connection. I totally understand that. Our society, it's funny, and I don't mean to digress, but it's hard not to. When the draft ended in 70, before the draft ended in 73, if you took two men in America and put them in a room together and they've never seen each other, there's a good chance they'd have at least one thing in common. They'd have military service in common. After the draft ended, that common tie that bound our society together,
officially ended in 73.
It was replaced by popular culture.
Sure.
What's the movie du jour? What's the book that everybody's reading? What's the television show that everybody's watching? What's the pop song that everybody's listening to? So pop culture really became a bigger deal post-military draft. And it's difficult to just talk about a piece of music that might mean one thing to me but means something totally different to you. It's a lot easier for me to talk about a song by the Eagles or a song by Michael Jackson or a song by Garth Brooks. And so we tend to listen more to popular pop, short form, 4-minute pop music with words because we don't want to be left out of the dinner table discussion when we're with our friends. Teenagers want to be up on the hip song so that when they go to slumber parties, they know what all their friends are talking about, right? It's social cachet to know the latest pop tunes. And because of that, we don't listen to a lot of long form instrumental music, right? Because it's not going to buy you any social credit at the slumber party. Now, if you did, I believe your life would be immensely, more enriched because, music, like I said earlier, is helping you make sense of the world. So while you may not be driving around listening to Dvorak's New World Symphony in your car, I promise you're going to recognize these tunes.
And the way to hear those tunes in your mind and your head is by coming Friday night at 7:30 to the Carroll County Performing Arts Center.
The Carroll County Schools Performing Arts Center.
Carroll County Schools Performing Arts Center on the bypass, just down the street from the jail.
That's right. That's right.
And you can't miss it on the bypass. Again, it starts at 7:30. How many players are going to be in the orchestra this Friday?
Almost 70.
You're kidding.
It's a big group.
No way. That's huge. Huge. That's huge.
It's a huge.
Okay, and we're going to have more with Terry Lowry, conductor and musical director of the Carroll Symphony Orchestra, and also directing Wind Ensemble, Community Chorus, Carrollton Jazz Orchestra, and the Youth Orchestra. After we be back with more after this.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Mountain Academy specializes in a customized designed academic approach tailored to meet the needs of our families. Our lower division prepares students with the necessary foundation to build excellence. Our middle division provides students with over 15 course offerings, providing them with opportunities to explore their talents and gifts. Our upper division provides personalized academic journeys, allowing them to achieve their dreams. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us, where every path leads to purpose.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, who doesn't know how to turn up a microphone, you would think, after all these years. CS Masterworks concert coming up this Friday, 7:30 at the Carroll County Schools Performing Arts Center on the bypass on 775 Old Noonan Road. It starts at 7:30. Tickets are $20 adults, $10 youth for 12 and younger. And you're going to be able to hear 70-member Carroll County Symphony Orchestra.
The Carroll Symphony.
Carroll
Orchestra.
Symphony, I mean, really, 70?
Mm-hmm.
Gee. So put that on your calendar. Bring family and friends. You'll love it. We're not going to have as much time as we really need, so there's obviously one thing, and you're probably going to have to be conscious of the time. How many years has the Carroll Symphony Orchestra, CSO, how many years has been in existence?
Our first concert was October 19th, 2002.
2002. So 24 years.
We're in our starting our 25th year. Yeah.
I found with these radio stations, sometimes you when you build something from nothing, and there was absolutely nothing to build upon, correct? Mm-hmm. Yes. The answer is yes. You become so focused on that people don't realize, and you don't tell everybody what's actually being accomplished. So now this is your chance. What's been accomplished in the last 24 years?
Well, I'll happily brag on the organization and on, well, in particular, our Young Composer Competition. So on this program, Friday night, you'll hear 3 of the 4 winners from the 2025 statewide Carroll Symphony Orchestra Young Composer Competition. Now, here's how this works. I write a short 16-measure musical theme, a little tune, and I send it out to every music teacher in Georgia. And I ask them, please have your students write a short piano piece, 4 minutes long or less, based on this theme. We get all these submissions. They come in the end of December. We send them off to a university composition professor who judges them, and then the winners come to me for orchestration lessons. And the winners get to hear their pieces played by a professional symphony orchestra. We believe this is the only program like this of its kind anywhere in the world, where a 6-year-old can write a piece of music and have a professional symphony orchestra perform it. It's absolutely unbelievable. We've premiered almost 300 compositions since we started this in 2004. This is a major project.
Okay.
A couple of short little stories real quick. So I remember once doing this. I had a little 8-year-old girl standing next to me, and she was wearing this what I call a little princess dress, more bows and ruffles, and she's standing right next to me. And we're at rehearsal, and we're playing through her piece for the first time. Her parents are sitting back in the audience just bawling their eyes out. We play her piece, and 60 Juilliard-trained musicians start clapping for her. Mm-hmm. Second story, the very first year we did this, we were doing a matinee concert like we're going to do Friday morning for school children. We were doing a matinee concert for 600 7th graders at the old Carrollton High School auditorium, the old one before they built the MAC. I was backstage with my concertmaster getting ready to walk on stage. Now, we were going to do things like Peter and the Wolf, children's type pieces that you do at a children's concert. We had a public performance coming up in about a week where we were going to perform the winning compositions of the first ever Young Composer Competition. I'm standing in the off stage about to walk on, and I look out around the curtain to the audience, and I see sitting in the audience one of our Young Composer winners. She had already won. She had already come to me, had the orchestration lessons. We're ready to play a piece. The players had the music. We weren't scheduled to play it at this event. So I looked at my concertmaster, the first chair violinist, who goes out and tunes the orchestra before I walk out. And I say, Edward, I want you to tell everybody we're going to play Julianne's piece. Tell them to pull it out of their folder. At some point in the program, I'm going to call an audible, and we're going to play this piece. So he walks out, whispers, around the orchestra to get that piece ready. So halfway through the concert, I turn to the orchestra and say, let's get out Julianne's piece. I turn around to a room full of 7th graders, and I tell them what's about to happen, that we're about to play a piece of music by a composer their own age. And in fact, this composer is in the room today. I turned around, played her piece. When it was over, I turned around to her, had her stand up. 700 of her peers jumped up to their feet. It was unbelievable. Now, I was never a 13-year-old girl, But I'm going to imagine that does a lot for the self-esteem of a 13-year-old girl. It was an incredible chills on the back of my neck moment, and it let me know that this was something important that we were going to keep doing as long as I was able. Now, Carrollton is celebrating its 200th anniversary right now. Birthday. So Tim Chapman, the superintendent of the Carrollton Center for the Arts, asked me if perhaps I would consider programming some local composers this season with the Carroll Symphony, with the Carrollton Wind Ensemble, with the Carroll County Community Chorus, with the Carrollton Jazz Orchestra, with the Youth Orchestra. And then he said, do we have enough local composers to be able to do this? And so I said, do we? Well, partly because of this young composer competition, actually largely. Now, not all of them. Ed Hogan's here. Ed Hogan didn't need the young composer competition. He's already a world famous composer. Sure. But there are most all of the other composers. We're performing this spring with those different groups, 22 compositions by 17 West Georgia area composers, grown-up professional composers who are all writing music all over the world.
And
they're from here, and most of them we found through the Young Composer Competition.
So it impacted their life in a major way.
It impacted their lives, but not only that, it impacted our community.
Right.
Because here's what happens: you get another 8th grader going to a concert, hearing a piece of music by a 10th grader, thinking, maybe I could try that next year. I never thought about writing music. Maybe I'll try it. Next thing you know, that 15 years later, that kid's a professional composer. So Carrollton has become this little hot spot for classical music composition. Back in the old days, it was Vienna. And I don't mean to get all grandiose with this, but look, Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, Brahms, Mahler, Schoenberg, Dvorak, all these composers, they were all in Vienna. They were in the same town, the same orchestra playing all of their music, the same audience here. And these people weren't born there. Schubert was the only one that was born in Vienna. Everybody else moved there because it was the town where you went if you were a composer. Yeah. Because there were other composers there. There was an orchestra there that knew how to play new music. There was an audience there that supported it and loved it. Carrollton has become that. I mean, that wasn't the goal 20-something years ago. It was just to enrich the lives of children. Yeah, we always wanted to be an engine for cultural development and economic development in Carrollton and Carroll County. But even I didn't realize how many working composers are from here or are here, and most of them came through our Young Composer Competition. It's incredible. I get my email every day. Every day I'll get emails from composers all over the world asking me to play their pieces with one of my groups because they've heard about us, because the Carroll Symphony Orchestra over the past 20 years has premiered more new music than any orchestra in the United States. And they send us their music and they go, we know who you are. We know that you support new music. We know that you'll play living composers. Will you consider my piece? Every day I get those. Carrollton has become that town.
I don't think everybody realizes the depth of.
I didn't realize it. I didn't realize how big it had. What a big deal it had become until, about a year ago when we started planning the 200th birthday, the musical side of the 200th birthday of Carrollton. But it's fantastic what we've become. We've become certainly the music town in Georgia. There's no question about that. We are the music town in Georgia. And depending on how you measure it, if you're measuring it by where do the composers want to go, where are the Beethovens of today, the Mozarts of today, where are they wanting to go, who are they sending their music to, where are they wanting to get it played? I know it sounds grandiose. I know it does, but I've got the emails to back it up. And just come to any of the programs that we do with either the Carroll Symphony, the Carrollton Wind Ensemble, the Carrollton Jazz Orchestra, the Carroll County Community Chorus, or the Carrollton Youth String Orchestra. You're going to hear brand new music this semester written by West Georgia area composers.
What inspired you to have such a focus on young people and kids and youth? Because most, local community orchestras do not, as you've said quite clearly.
Well, we knew when we
What
started.
was the inspiration behind it?
Well, we knew when we started the orchestra, I didn't want to just, make an orchestra and pretend to be the New York Philharmonic in the middle of Carrollton. We didn't, there were people here who loved orchestral music, but there were a lot of people that had never heard it before. So
Sure.
we wanted to have relevance in the community. We wanted to have meaning and impact. And so the first thing I did,
And generational now.
the first thing that I did was I had meetings and lunches after lunch after lunch after lunch with community leaders, just asking them, so what is Carrollton about? What is Carroll County about?
National headlines and the
County is about
local
raising
stories
families.
you care about.
You don't move to Carrollton to be rich and famous. You move to Carrollton because you want a great place to raise your family.
Right.
So from the beginning, we knew that if we were going to be relevant in our community, we had to impact the lives of children. We had to make it a great place for parents to where they wanted to raise their kids, where grandparents could go to a concert and see their grandkids in action, that kind of thing. And so I asked myself, okay, well, what do I wish I had had when I was a kid? And it was a chance to have my music played by an orchestra. So we started the Young Composer Competition, and it has turned out to be exponentially better and bigger than any of us ever imagined.
Well, we're kind of winding down on our time limitation here. Let me give you about 2 minutes to do a personal invitation to friends, family, and the community at large to come out Friday night.
Yeah, come Friday night, 7:30, the Carroll County Schools Performing Arts Center here, the Carroll Symphony Orchestra. You're going to love the music. You're going to recognize the music. You're going to hear music played by, composed by local school children, and it's going to move you to tears. It's so fantastic. There will be seats. It's a huge auditorium. Just come, get your ticket Friday night.
And the acoustics are great.
It's a fantastic hall. Boy, they did a great job with this concert hall. It's such an incredible venue. We start at 7:30. Why? So you can bring your children and still get them home in time for bed. My 3-year-old will be there. Bring your children to the concert. Bring your grandparents to the concert. I promise it is entertaining. It is exciting. You will love it.
Very good. And give us a little recap, because I think this is important about, let me give it a shot again. Antonin Dvorak's New World Symphony. Give us a little more taste of that.
It's the most famous piece of orchestral music in the world. I mean, granted, we all know the da-da-da-dum, the opening few bars of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. But in terms of the whole piece, this is the most recognizable, audience-friendly, exciting piece of concert music that in existence. You're going to just absolutely be thrilled to get to hear this in person. It's different than hearing a recording. Being there in person, hearing the sound bounce off the walls, seeing the players while you're listening, it's like nothing else. If you've never been, you just have to take my word for it. It'll change the way you hear music.
And we, before we go, the 24 years wasn't something that was just something you pulled out of your hat. This was made possible in large part by the Carroll Symphony Guild and other generous donors.
The board of directors of the Carroll Symphony and our Symphony Guild and our corporate and foundation sponsors have made this possible. This is not cheap. It's very, it costs money. It takes an army of volunteers to make this happen. And without the Symphony Guild, and to see all those names, go to our website at mycarrollsymphony.com and click on patrons, and you will see a list a mile long of our community supporters who make sure that we are the music town that we are.
Our guest this morning has been Terry Lowry, conductor and musical director of Carroll Symphony Orchestra. Hope to see you this Friday night, February 6th, 7:30 p.m. at the Carroll County Schools Performing Arts Center for the Masterworks Conference. Go out and make it a great day. You're in tune to WLBB Carrollton.